Hey everybody, Mindy with Quilting Mayhem. Welcome back to another Mindy's Monday Live where we're giving you some tips and tricks today. And I wanted today to talk about rotary cutter maintenance, mat maintenance, how to make sure that your cutting goes as well as possible for you. And a lot of times when you're having problems cutting, it's actually because either your blade or your mat. All right, so some of the key things to remember is you actually do need to replace the blade. I know. Nobody likes that expenditure. It's kind of like sewing machine needles. I swear to you guys, you never want to change the needle. You never seem to want to change the blade, but it is important. They get dull. They are metal. They wear down. So if you do a lot of cutting, buy a bulk pack. It saves you money and just it makes it easier. If you nick your ruler, a pin, any of those kinds of things, you're almost going to immediately want to change the blade. I always test it just to make sure. But I almost guarantee every time you're going to get just a little nick, and then you're going to have just those little bits in your fabric that don't cut all the way through. Just save yourself the headache. Switch out the blade. It's never fun. I swear I do it the minute I change my blade, and I hate it. But it's just that kind of necessary evil that you need to do. Otherwise, if you just notice that it's harder or you're pushing harder into your fabric to get it to cut, that's definitely the sign to change the blade. I'm not going to tell you that it's, once a month or every 2 weeks. Everybody cuts a different amount of fabric. So there's not like a hard, fast calendar for you to follow. But definitely, like if it's just getting harder, change that blade. You'll be so much happier because one of the other key reasons why you want to keep that blade nice and sharp and not be using a dull blade is it will actually wear your mat out. Your mat is a big expenditure. You don't want to wear it out fast. You want it to last. So making sure you're not cutting with a dull blade will help keep that mat to last longer and not start to get the grooves and the deep cut marks in them. You just don't want that happening. So keeping on top of that blade swap out is a good plan. And like us here, we have the little circle like sail dots. We actually put it in the center of our cutters and we date them. This is my demo one, so I haven't dated it, but all the other shop ones, we have like the dates, so we know how long it's been. Like we know if it's been a couple weeks, a couple months, if it's a couple months and you're struggling, change the blade, all right? So if you need something that's like kind of a little reminder that says, oh, it's been a while, I would recommend that. So that is definitely very important. And then of course, mats. They come in all kinds of sizes. We want to make them last. Like I said, it is an investment, especially when you start getting bigger mats, they get spendy. And they start to get, little linty pieces from your fabric and those kinds of things. Or if you're working in like garments and glitters and all kinds of weird things, they really like to get stuck in those grooves. So one of the recommendations is that you do want to always kind of clean your mat. So if anything, I'm always kind of brushing it off, trying to get stuff out of there. I'll use a damp sponge, damp cloth, and just kind of give it a good cleaning to get all those fibers out of there so that your self-healing mat can actually self-heal. It cannot kind of be happy and get those grooves out of the way when they're full of schmutz. So, and of course, so I just give it a nice little cleaning every now and again. And of course, my cutting table becomes also a dump zone, and so I end up with coffee rings and other things. So make sure you're cleaning it, give it the love because it's important. You need it for cutting your fabric. And if you are starting to get a lot of grooves, like if you've had it a long time and your favorite cutting lines are getting deep grooves, either train yourself to start shifting over, maybe remark the bottom of your mat, or invest in a new mat. But definitely it's good. If you're just trimming blocks, I do try to kind of move around the mat and not just stay in like one corner, because otherwise you end up with that like one popular corner that you like starts to wear out and the rest of your mat looks like it's brand new. So shift around or pivot your mat. I've been known to kind of rotate it around, those kinds of things, especially just for block cutting, because I never use my lines on my mat unless it's something huge. Remember, if you're trimming blocks and you're in those smaller sizes, the 4s, the 6s, the 8s, you should have a ruler probably that will help you trim those sizes and not be using the lines on your mats because they're never consistent, they never match. The ruler is really the best way to go until obviously, when I get into bigger like 18-inch, then I don't have a ruler for that. So I'll use my mat, but that's about the only time that I'm not using ruler to cut. So you can cut with a ruler anywhere on that mat. So shift around, move around, and then just make sure, you're keeping an eye on it, keeping it clean. If you're starting to wear it out, it's time to rotate, all those kinds of things. And some mats you can actually flip over and even use the backside. Let's see, this one's, it's gross, so if I was going to use the backside, I'd definitely clean it off first. So those are the two key pieces, but I know sometimes you guys seem to be really resistant to changing them or doing kind of that maintenance. Maybe some of you didn't know that you could actually, wipe them down, clean them off. It doesn't hurt it. Remember to make sure that you are not storing it in a hot car, hot window, any of those kinds of things. You do not want your mat to warp, and they will get all waffly, and that's not fun because you can't cut on a warped mat. So if you're going to retreats and classes, those kinds of things, especially right now in the summer and it's hot, highly recommend you're taking it out of the car, storing it somewhere cooler, or if it is in the car, you have no choice, maybe you're traveling, those kinds of things, try to make sure you keep it flat. Keep it like in the flat part of your trunk, not laying over the top of all your stuff, because that's when it starts to bend and it will just kind of mold to that curved shape. So we want your mats to stay happy, we want your cutters to stay nice and happy and sharp, so make sure you're doing those things. Change those blades, I know, but you buy in bulk, you save money, it's okay. And of course we sell all different sizes and bulk packs, those kinds of things, and make sure you take care of your mat, you love your mat, because they'll last a long time if you do take care of them. I've had mine, I'd say decades. So if you do take good care of them, they can last you a while and you get your money's worth out of them. So hopefully this has helped for you guys. Maybe taught you something new, or maybe reminded you that you needed to either wipe down your mat or change a blade. And hope you have a lovely day and keep on stitching.